Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Archery Talk 101. What we're going to cover today, and you're going to learn how to do, is determine which is your dominant eye and why you need to know that, as well as what is your draw length and why you want to set it to the correct draw length. So let's get started off with checking your dominant eye. The reason you want to do that is a little eye-hand coordination. When you're shooting a bow and you're using your dominant eye, it lines up with the pins. Your non-dominant eye is also seeing the pins, but at a different angle. So if you line up with your non-dominant eye, it's going to see the pins, but your dominant eye is the one that's really going to pick them up. And you're going to find that you're going to be shooting off to one side or the other, whether you're right eye dominant or left eye dominant, shooting right or left-handed. Um, you want to look at your dominant eye and shoot that target. So if you're right eye dominant, you need to shoot a right-handed bow. And if you're left eye dominant, shoot a left-handed bow. It doesn't matter which hand you write with. It makes a difference on which is your dominant eye. Okay, now let's get into how do you determine whether you're right or left eye dominant. So to start with, what you're going to do is you're going to take your two hands, your left hand, and form what looks like an L, and your right hand, which also forms a reverse L, the other direction. Now you're going to overlap those two until you have a small hole where your index knuckles are right about each other, and then your thumbs are overlapping. Now you're going to take that little hole, and what you're going to do is you're going to look at an object at a distance. Now, if you're using whatever the object is, take and look at that, bring your hand up, and keep that in focus. Now, if somebody's there to look at you, they're going to be able to look through that hole and see which is your dominant eye. Now, there's two ways that you can do this. One, keep that in focus and slowly move your hand back to your eye until you get against your face. Now, the eye that it's up to is your dominant eye. For in my case, that's my right eye. Now, bring it out, keep that thing in focus. Now, the other way to determine which it is to close your left eye. If you still see the target you're aiming at, your right eye dominant. Now, open your left eye and close your right eye. Now, what you're seeing at that distance, that's how far off you'd be if you use your non-dominant eye. This also comes into play when you're doing other sports too. Say like you're shooting pool. Those that like to play pool, when you line up with your non-dominant eye, your right eye is actually seeing alignment between the cue ball and the stick and the ball you're going to hit, but you're not shooting in that same line. So if you're shooting right-handed and your right eye dominant, you're going to line up along with the stick where it's going to hit the cue and then into the ball. So that's one of the things you do. Same thing with bowling. Your dominant eye is going to pick up what you're going to focus on. Even though there's not a lot of distance between the two, it can make a lot of difference in what you're doing. So now the next thing we'll cover is your draw length. Now, why you want to have the correct draw length? Well, one, if your draw length is too long, you're going to start hitting your arm. Take on the inside of your arm, the meaty part of the forearm. You're going to start smacking that, and that is going to start leaving a welt. The more you hit it, the bigger it swells up. The more it swells up, the more pain you're going to be in when you hit it, and you're going to kind of lose your desire to shoot the bow. Now, on the other hand, if you're too short, what happens is your arm has got too much bend in it. Your shoulder starts pushing up, and you're cramped up. And it's like if you've grabbed a kid's bow that's, way too short for you and try and pick it up, you're just really crunched up. It's not comfortable to shoot. So now let's get into what's your draw length, how to measure it. Basically, you're taking your wingspan, which is your arms held out to your side, straight out, your palms forward, and measure from the tip of your finger to the tip of your fingers. That is the measurement you're going to start with. And then you're going to take and divide that by 2.5, and that is your draw length. Now, I recommend going about a ½ inch shorter because that gives you a little bit more bend. And those that are going to hunt or shoot outside during the wintertime, have a big, heavy coat, that also leaves you a little more room so that you're not hitting your coat with the string. And that can affect the arrow and throw it off a different path. So once you measure that with, have somebody else help you measure from the tip to tip, take that number, divide by 2.5, and that's your draw length. Now, if you don't have anybody else to do it with you, there's a couple ways you can do it. One, grab yourself a piece of paper or a piece of tape rather, and a pen or pencil, and put your back to the wall, put your fingers on one hand up against the wall, and then spread them out the other way, and now out as far as you can. Now don't stretch out, just comfortably hold your arms out. Now then, once you get your hands against the wall, the back of your hands against the wall, take and remove your hand from the corner that you put it in, and start folding over to where you're looking at where your hand is, with trying not to move it off the wall. Now put a little mark on that wall, either with tape or a pencil or something. And then now just take a tape measure and measure distance from the wall to that mark you put on the wall. Now take that one and divide by 2.5 as well. And that is your draw length. And then, like I said earlier, just do about a 1/2 inch shorter. Gives you a little extra room. You can shoot longer if you're just going to shoot indoors, but I recommend go ahead and try that. Try different ones and see where it goes. Now, the other option is to take a yardstick. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put that on your chest, right below your throat. If you look at where your neck meets your chest, there's a little groove right there. Start from there, go down, put the yardstick right there, and then you're going to hold your arms out straight in front of you on the yardstick, and then see where your fingertips go. Pull it back and look and see that measurement is, and that is your draw length. And then, like again, I go about a 1/2 inch shorter than that. So that's basically what you're going to do for determining your draw length. What happens when you're shooting the correct draw length, you're going to have your hand in the correct position. You're going to have a slight bend in your arm. Your shoulder is going to be nice and relaxed, going to be down. And then you're going to be a little more comfortable. You're not going to have shoulder problems. If you're shooting too long of a draw length, your arm is extended way out, and then your shoulder will push up. And then that shoulder being pushed up is going to cause problems in your shoulder. So you want to drop that shoulder down, and then also going to put a little bend in your arm. That's what I see people do, is the draw length is correct, but they want to have their arm locked straight out. So lock the arm, and to do that, they're going to have to push that shoulder up. So if you're having shoulder problems, that might be what you're doing, is pushing that shoulder up. Your draw length is too long, or if it's too short, it pushes that shoulder up as well. So if you're having shoulder problems, it's either really short, or it's too long, or you're just pushing your arm up to straighten it out. So that's kind of what we're going to cover today. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave comments in there. If you'd like a little more information on how to improve your form, or even get a review of your form with Liscombe Teak, join the Facebook group Archery Talk 101. I'll leave a link in it in the description below so that you can join it. Just answer a few questions. If you want to post a video of yourself shooting, then we can go over it and take a look at it, and we'll give you some pointers on how to improve your skills. And also, if you're brand new, there is also a checklist you can get on what you want to do. It goes over you need to do the draw length, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, and what poundage you're going to start off. On your poundage, you want to start off something at the low end so you can get some practice in. Then increase it slowly as you start. I started out with my bow at 52 pounds, and then I eventually got up to shooting 70 pounds. But it takes a while when you get there. And the key is you want to be able to shoot a lot and be comfortable with it. So getting the right draw length and the right-handed bow will solve a lot of those problems. Thanks for listening to Archery Talk 101. This is Roy Canterbury. I've been your host today, and we'll see you next time.